today is going to be the GameStop exclusive Daredevil street art. But before I get this guy open and we take a closer look at him, I'm gonna kind of like show y'all something that I've been working on, because with all the street art and all the artist series stuff that's been coming out, it's been kind of making me want to grab my airbrush again and kind of play with it a little bit. It's just been a really long time since I've sat down and done any kind of real artwork. So I decided to I'm gonna make some custom shirts. And look, you guys will have to tell me what you think. I put out some feelers here the other day, and just to see if anybody would be interested in a custom shirt for me. I had a couple of people come back yes, and really that's all I needed, was a couple of people to come back and say that they would like to see a custom shirt for me. And I don't know if, I think some of you know, but I don't think all of you know that I really used to be highly influenced into street art. I've actually got some that was in my local town that I had done, and it just stuck around for a really long time until they painted over it here recently, which was kind of heartbreaking, to be honest with you, because it had sat there a really long time before they decided to paint over it. This is going to be like heavily street art influence. With all the street art and all of the different Funkos that are coming out like that, it's kind of been giving me some inspiration to want to get back into this, right? It's something I used to do as a really young guy, and it was a really cool hustle. These shirts are going to be really simple though, and I've thought about how I was doing these and what the simplicity of them was going to be, and I was going to make it something that was very me, right? So it's going to be very me, but it's also going to be heavily street art influenced, right? So I'm going to get these guys working, and I'm going to get them together, and then I will show them off to y'all next week. Here is the general concept of this shirt. And this was actually something that I started doing a long time ago, except I didn't do it with my airbrush. They had these things called graffiti markers. For any of you kids listening, put earmuffs on right now. So they have these things out there that are refillable graffiti markers. And so when you see a lot of writing and stuff like that, and it's got the paint running down, and you're like, man, I wonder how they did that. They did it with graffiti markers. So that's kind of where I've got that idea from, was kind of playing with graffiti markers quickly and putting stuff on there. But then I have another piece that's gonna go on there to tie it all together, right? So because I'm hand making these guys, they're all going to be uniquely different. I mean, they're all gonna be uniquely different in a really cool way. And like I said, I'm only going to put 7 of them up for sale. So I'm going to offer them to the Patreon first. So if you're a member of the Patreon, you'll have a first hit at it. I'm only going to do 3 sizes. I'm only going to do the large, the extra large, and the 2X. I mean, that's it. I'm not doing anything other than that. I mean, those are going to be the 3 that I'm going to do. This is Miles Morales, the Daredevil. The Daredevil box looks a lot like the Miles Morales. I love how they put the windows all the way around. That's always a good thing that they do when they do these, and the window up top. That's something that I wish we would start seeing in the 3.5s, but I doubt that we will ever see that in the 3.5s. But they could maybe put an extra window on one side. That would kind of complete the whole like in the box collection. It just makes them a little easier to see. These things are really cool though, and unless you see these guys in person, I don't think you really know how cool these boxes are. But they are really cool. They don't show any more on the back, even though we know there's like 8 of these guys all together. They just recently released Captain America and Iron Man. So they're both up for pre-order at GameStop. If you want to go check that out, I have those up for pre-order. I don't necessarily know what the next, so I think that makes 4. So there's either 4 more after that, or there's 2 more after that, and I can't really remember without looking at the chart. Looking at him in the box though, look, I am extremely impressed with how well he looks in the box. And I'm going to tell you something else I'm impressed with. I'm impressed at how different they look, because that was going to be one of my concerns, right? Is that these guys are going to look a whole lot alike because they were just going to do one kind of generic paint scheme, and then they were just going to change the colors, and that is not the case at all. And so when I first heard Daredevil, my thing was just like the Miles. Are you going to be able to see the details in him? Are you going to be able to recognize him as Daredevil? And the answer to that is absolutely. Let's take a closer look at him. I don't necessarily know if this camera is going to do this thing justice, but I'm going to tell you that this is probably one of the coolest pops that I've ever seen in my entire life. From the paint scheme to everything they did with this guy, he is really awesome. Now I'm going to tell you what I think and how they're pulling this off and how I would pull this off if I was them. It looks like they're hydro dipping it. So they have a stencil that's in the water, and then they just kind of take this guy and set him in the water, and then when you pull him back up, he has the stencil sitting on him. He is a bobblehead, you know, just like all Marvel characters. I'm really hoping that you can just see the detail that's in this guy, because it is really extraordinary. I mean, just a really, really extraordinary addition to the street art series. And you know what's funny is, back when I was a kid, I got in a whole lot of trouble more than one time for taking a rattle can and putting it on a wall. But now they're starting to call that art for whatever reason it is. They're starting to appreciate the kids grabbing the rattle cans and putting a portrait or whatever it is that you put on a wall. And you know, it seems like the more you do that kind of stuff, the better you get at it. And it feels to me like the more Funko does this, the better they are getting at it. Because look, I thought the Miles Morales was hot. It is not even compared to the Daredevil, and I'm just going to stick with that. And I'm really excited to see the Captain America. I'm really excited to see the Iron Man, because now I can only imagine where do you go from here, right? Because it seems like they are improving with this from first to second. I can't wait, guys. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and become part of the Wayneko crew. There is no Wayneko crew without you, and I truly appreciate you watching. Until next time, guys, have a good one.